Hi guys, welcome to the second episode of the Bachelors of Cricket. I'm Ankit, he is Chirag और अगर कुछ लोग हम लोगों को फर्स्ट टाइम देख रहे हैं तो बस हल्का सा इंट्रोडक्शन दूंगा. आई कम फ्रॉम इंडिया, बेसिकली लिव इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया फ्रॉम लास्ट 4 इयर्स और क्रिकेट हमारा प्यार है, पैशन है. तो हमने सोचा क्यों ना इसको सम काइंड ऑफ हॉबी में कन्वर्ट कर दिया जाए. तो लास्ट वीक से मैंने और चिराग सर ने शुरू किया है. इफ सम ऑफ यू आर जॉइनिंग अस फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, सो या हियर आई एम. एंड चिराग सर, आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहेंगे?
बस यार सो आई एम ऑल्सो फ्रॉम दिल्ली एंड आई स्टे इन लंदन। अंकित मेलबर्न में रहता है। हम लोग का टाइम डिफरेंस अभी 11 घंटे है। सो अंकित इज रिकॉर्डिंग दिस ऑलमोस्ट इन द मिडल ऑफ हिज नाइट एंड आई एम रिकॉर्डिंग दिस मिडल ऑफ द डे। सो वो
या
थोड़ा चैलेंज है बट उसके अलावा वी बोथ शेयर अ लव ऑफ क्रिकेट टुगेदर. We both met in our bachelors and our friendship was based on cricket, so that's why the show is also called the Bachelors of Cricket, where we would like to share our opinion, maybe give some knowledge. इतने साल we've seen the sport and everybody thinks that हम भी उन्हीं में से है जिनको लगता है कि we probably know a lot more than
या
people who are playing the game, but that's how it is. Stupid opinions maybe, but if you like it, then definitely do give us a like and a share and a subscribe maybe. Yeah.
कूल. सो
So आज
लेट.
हम स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं एपिसोड. सो आज हमारा एपिसोड बेसिकली बॉर्डर गावस्कर फर्स्ट टेस्ट मैच सीरीज का जो है उसका रिव्यू है. एंड सोचा था कि ये एपिसोड कल रिकॉर्ड करेंगे, मैच चौथे दिन जाएगा, बट द मैच finished in 2.5 days and we
या
had to jump on a call together to record this episode so that बासी खबर ना दें आप लोगों को और we just review it and analyze it on the same day.
या सो लेट्स गेट द बॉल रोलिंग. So we directly have to come from the first day one, or the match summary should be coming. I mean,
I think
we
match
should
summary
start.
देते हैं and then we can
Okay.
decide they discuss day by day. So Australia won the toss and they decided to bat. और पिच को देखते हुए आई थिंक उन्होंने भी ये सोचा होगा कि इंडिया इफ दे बैट फोर्थ,
Yeah.
Australia would be at an advantage. Uh, and there was a lot of hoo ha from the media from the toss itself, the selection of the team. Australia went in with Ranshaw और उन्होंने हेड को जो उनका लास्ट 2 साल में सबसे बेस्ट बैट्समैन है, आई थिंक वर्ल्ड रैंक नंबर 4 है, उनको
Yeah.
टीम से बाहर निकाला एंड रैनशॉ को लाए. And they gave a debut to this new spinner. What's his name?
Todd Murphy.
Todd Murphy, right?
Yeah.
Hot Toddy. So Todd Murphy को उन्होंने डेब्यू दिया and yes, so went into bat and opposite to what people thought, the first 2 wickets and first 2 overs were taken by the Indian seamers. They set the
Yeah.
tone for the match, and वहीं से Australia back foot पे था and they were catching up throughout the game. Of course, after the 2 wickets, the Indian spinners came on and started spinning a web around Australia. Australia finished the first innings at 177 for zero, with Marnus Labuschagne top scoring at 49. Steve Smith के साथ उनकी अच्छी partnership थी, 37 runs. Steve Smith ने किए. That was the time when it was a little stable, but
Yeah.
after once both of them fell, the innings did not get an impetus and बीच में थोड़ा बहुत chip in from Peter Hanscom and Alex Carey के साथ they finished at 177. India went into bat on the same day. First day पे उन्होंने 77 for 1 wicket बनाया था,
Yes.
where they were leading by 100. Then next day full batting किया and there were good contributions from Rohit Sharma, obviously, who scored a century. Ravindra Jadeja का अच्छा contribution था. Virat Kohli had another failure and उसके बाद नीचे लोअर डाउन में काफ़ी अच्छी बैटिंग हुई. शामी ने रन्स किए, अक्षर पटेल ने रन्स किए एंड इंडिया क्लोज्ड देयर इनिंग्स एट 400, which was a lead of 223.
23. Yeah.
223. Australia, in reply, in their second innings and third innings of the match, काफ़ी कुछ expected था उनसे, but they crumbled. They crumbled with all their 10 wickets in one session, which was the second session of the day of day three. Again, spin ने काफ़ी जादू किया एंड उसमें रविंद्र अश्विन ने 5 विकेट लिए. फर्स्ट इनिंग्स में हम बताना भूल गए, रविंद्र जडेजा ने 5 विकेट लिए थे. सो स्पिन डूइंग देयर जॉब. And finally, Australia lost the match by an innings and 100 odd runs, where Australia finished their innings at 91, which is their lowest ever total in India against India. and I think their second lowest total for in the history of the game against
Yes,
India. I think first was in Melbourne somewhere in the 1980s, where they finished on 81 or 82 all out. वो मैच भी इंडिया जीती थी, and ये मैच भी इंडिया जीती है. So summing up the whole match in 3 minutes, that's how it is. And Ankit, do you want to maybe talk about something specific from day-wise play or by innings per
sure,
innings?
sure, sir. So, what has been the norm in India lately? Any touring team comes in, if they win the toss, obviously they want to bat first, all right? Because ऐसा एक perception है कि डे बाय डे पिच डिटीरियोरेट होती है इंडिया में, and fourth inning is seen as the toughest time to bat. So considering that, Australia won the toss and decided to bat first, and as you rightly mentioned, the only phase of the match where Australia kind of looked in control, when after the first 2 overs, when Marnus and Smith came into bat in tandem. So वहां से उन्होंने 2 for 2 से सम 80 for 2 लेके गए. तब फर्स्ट सेशन लंच के बाद और सेकंड सेशन के फर्स्ट हाफ एन आवर में, तब ऑस्ट्रेलिया लग रहा था कि ओके, दे हैव लेड अ गुड प्लेटफॉर्म एंड दे कैन stretch their score to somewhere around 250 to 300. But जैसा expected था, same thing happened. Once Ashwin and Jadeja found their rhythm, and Jadeja produced a peach of a delivery to Marnus Labuschagne, and equally good work behind the stumps by Bharat. I mean, people going gaga over Jadeja, Ashwin, and all, but for me, I think one of the most underrated performance from India came through KS Bharat, the debutant. What a tremendous wicketkeeper he is. I mean, the stumping which he did to Marnus Labuschagne was absolutely brilliant in the first inning. उसके बाद फिर स्मिथ को भी एक ब्यूटी प्रोड्यूस की जडेजा ने. उसके बाद आई डोंट थिंक एनीबडी कुड पुट एनी काइंड ऑफ इम्पैक्ट ऑन इंडियन बॉलिंग. केरी ने थोड़ा बहुत रेजिस्टेंस शो किया, बट उसके आज भी सेम 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 हालात थे उसके. there's a saying in cricket that you live by the sword, you die by the sword. जैसा हम लोग उस टाइम डिस्कस भी कर रहे थे, उसने शायद 6 बॉल्स फेस की हैं सेकंड इनिंग में,
3 नॉर्मल स्वीप मारे और 3 रिवर्स
3
स्वीप
रिवर्स
मारे.
स्वीप, और शायद
6 बॉल में
सातवें
6
अटेम्प्ट.
स्वीप.
हाँ, सातवें
छठी
अटेम्प्ट
बॉल
पे
पे आउट
आउट.
हो गया था वो, रिवर्स स्वीप
हाँ.
वाली बॉल पे आउट हो गया था.
तो
6 बॉल में 6 स्वीप और छठी बॉल पे आउट.
yes, and in between India's response, तो रोहित शर्मा, as he's been having his second life as an opener, जो मतलब बोलते हैं हम लोग क्रिकेटिंग टर्म्स में कि he's fulfilling his lost time. So he's been batting really good in second half of his career, not only at home, at overseas as well. Last year इंग्लैंड में उसने overseas first 100 किया, और back at home conditions again he dominated from ball one, you know और उसने एक अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म ले किया टू गेट अ हैंडसम लीड. और जडेजा और अक्षर पटेल ने इतना अच्छा चिप इन किया कि आई मीन दे लिटरली बैटेड ऑस्ट्रेलिया आउट ऑफ द टेस्ट मैच. अब ये देखना था कि कितना रेजिस्टेंस शो कर पाती ऑस्ट्रेलिया सेकंड इनिंग्स में. बट आई मीन व्हाट शुड वी से, इट वाज uh, such a hammering, such a thrashing. I mean, I'm running short of adjectives. इतनी बुरी defeat हुई है उनको.
नहीं, इंडिया में आई थिंक ये ट्रेंड बन चुका है. इफ अ मैच गोज टू अ फोर्थ डे, दैट्स अ सरप्राइज. आई थिंक
Yeah,
प्रीवियसली इन
exactly.
द 90s थर्ड डे से पिच स्पिन करती थी, फोर्थ डे से स्पिन करती थी. यहाँ पे पिच फर्स्ट डे से स्पिन करती है, एंड आई थिंक वी आर नॉट यूज्ड टू seeing matches go all the way. I think people who are buying fourth or fifth day tickets in the stadiums are the real gamblers, right? I think if
Exactly.
I were to put my money, I would say 3 दिन का match है, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा fourth day का first session. So that trend remained, that trend continued. Talking about Bharat, I think yes, that was a great call by the team management. We had an option of picking Ishan Kishan, primarily because he's been with the team regularly playing in other formats, and he provides that lefty balance, which I think, of course, Akshar Patel and Jadeja are providing now. But in the top five, we don't have any lefties. So
Yeah.
Ishan Krishan को probably पांच पे खिला सकते थे after Kohli, and then maybe जो next batsman अपना कोई
Yeah.
सूर्या
Sky
होता
at
या जो भी
six
होता वो
maybe.
खेलता.
Yeah.
But I think the management invariably goes with the better keeper, which we have seen in the last, I don't know, since maybe Virat Kohli has been the captain.
Yeah.
Um, Riddhiman Saha काफी साल खेला, even when Rishabh Pant started doing well. Only when Rishabh Pant's keeping really went a notch above, and of course he's improved tremendously versus what he was. He got a permanent spot in the team, but otherwise it was very clear that India में मैच होगा तो साहा खेलेगा because we
Yeah,
need a better keeper, and abroad में मैच होगा तो पंत खेलेगा because पंत पेस के अगेंस्ट सही कर लेता है और बैटिंग में ज़्यादा स्ट्रांग है. इंडिया में हमें
exactly.
बैटिंग की इतनी जरूरत नहीं पड़ती, राइट. इफ यू लुक एट द टीम कॉम्बिनेशन, 7 पे अश्विन और 8 पे जडेजा, या आजकल 7 पे जडेजा और 8 पे अश्विन आता है, तो our tail sort of is pretty heavy sometimes. In fact, last 3 years में अगर आप देखोगे तो नंबर 3 4 5 से ज़्यादा नंबर 6 7 8 ने रन्स किए हैं, and that also continued. So a lot of trends which we have seen in India for the last 3 to 4 years, एग्जैक्टली उसका ब्लूप्रिंट जैसा होता है, वही ब्लूप्रिंट सेम टू
Yeah,
सेम इस मैच में
yeah,
हुआ है. कुछ भी अलग नहीं हुआ है. स्पिनर्स ने ही विकेट लिए हैं. उन्हीं बैट्समैन द यूजुअल सस्पेक्ट्स ने रन मारे हैं. इवन रोहित शर्मा के बारे में आपने थोड़ा सा टच किया. सो ट्रिमेंडस कंट्रोल ओवर इस गेम, राइट. अगर आप देखोगे तो वो बॉल इतना ज़्यादा पास खेलता है अपनी बॉडी के. पहले T20 एंड वनडे का ज़्यादा था तो बाहर खेलता था. आजकल उसकी वजह से उसका वनडे गेम भी चेंज हुआ है, उसका T20 गेम भी चेंज हुआ है, क्योंकि उसने टेस्ट की टेक्निक अपनी सही की है. यू नो, यू विल सी दैट ही प्लेज द बॉल वेरी लेट, ही डजंट कमिट हिमसेल्फ ऑन द फ्रंट फुट यूजुअली. ठीक है, लेग साइड पे काफ़ी पास, बॉडी के पास से खेलता है. तो आई थिंक वो उसको काफ़ी काम आया, एंड ही showed a great temperament. He played, he applied himself as a normal, if it is a normal pitch, like a normal pitch, right. अगर वो ये सोच के खेलेगा कि भाई कभी भी आउट हो सकते हैं, तो यू नो आप गलत खेलने लग जाते हो, आप अपना नेचुरल
yeah,
गेम नहीं खेलते हो. एंड आई थिंक दैट्स अ लर्निंग विच एवरी प्लेयर इन द इंडियन टीम एज वेल एज द ऑस्ट्रेलियन टीम शुड हैव, वेयर यू प्ले your natural game, your own style. Don't try extras. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल कैरी ने फर्स्ट इनिंग में स्वीप मारा, तो अगर वो चल गया थोड़ा 30 35 रन बन गया, तो उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि नेक्स्ट इनिंग में वो स्वीप ही मारता रहेगा, राइट. ही हैड टू सी वेयर ही वाज. इंडियन बॉलर्स को पता था. यूर टॉकिंग अबाउट अश्विन, 450 विकेट्स. यूर टॉकिंग अबाउट जडेजा, 250 विकेट्स ऑलमोस्ट, राइट. दीज गाइज नो हाउ टू गेट यू आउट. इफ दे नो व्हाट
yeah.
यूर डूइंग, आप इनको आउटस्मार्ट नहीं कर सकते, राइट. सो या, सो
And
that's.
and if you are, keep playing one shot at every ball, then you are inviting your danger yourself. आप छह के छह बॉल पे स्वीप कैसे मार सकते हो यार? कुछ
नहीं, वो आई थिंक अभी the coach and the team management in Australian dressing room probably would have a lot to say about that.
एग्जैक्टली,
uh, थोड़ी सी पिच की बात कर लेते हैं.
बिल्कुल या
पिच हमने देखा था, वी सॉ द पिक्चर्स जस्ट बिफोर द गेम, मे बी अ कपल ऑफ डेज बिफोर, वेयर एक बहुत सी सुंदर सा डिजाइन बना हुआ था पिच पे. आई थिंक लेफ्ट हैंडर्स ऑफ स्टंप के बाहर उन्होंने ड्राई छोड़ा हुआ था,
हाँ,
और दोनों साइड से. सो इट वाज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक जडेजा को बता रहे हैं कि भाई ये हिस्सा है, इस पे बॉल डालनी है. कलर कोड कर दिया है कि यहीं डालते रहो, यहीं डालते रहो. सो अ लॉट ऑफ Australian media had a lot to say. They were calling it unsporting, they were calling it whatnot, um, but I feel कि there were no demons in the pitch, right. ऐसा कोई बॉल नहीं था जो कहीं it spat like a cobra, जैसे
या
कहते हैं कि
या
dangerous और unplayable pitch होती है, कि कहीं से भी उछल रही है बॉल, ग्लव्स पे लग रही है. So I mean, your opinion on the pitch, what do you think?
यस सर, आई मीन जो प्री कंसीव्ड नोशन था ऑस्ट्रेलिया का और उनकी मीडिया का 2 दिन पहले कि पिच डॉक्टर की गई है precisely against our lefty batsmen because they have some 5 or 6 lefties in their top
Hmm?
7.
Hmm?
आई थिंक स्मिथ और लबुशेन के अलावा सारे लेफ्टी थे उनमें.
Hmm?
वार्नर, ख्वाजा, रेनशॉ अगर हेड खेलता तो कैरी और या तो
Even
5.
I think जो उनका न्यू कमर है, टॉड.
या टॉड
uh,
मर्फी ही इज आल्सो
टॉड
लेफ्टी.
मर्फी is also lefty, yeah.
शार्क खेलेगा वो भी लेफ्टी है, हेजलवुड खेलेगा वो भी लेफ्टी है. तो
Mm-hmm.
उनके बहुत लेफ्टीज हैं. तो मेरे ख्याल से मुझे जो लगता है आफ्टर मैच की शायद उनके दिमाग में ये हाइप क्रिएट हो गया था पिच के लिए कि वी गोना फेस एन अपहिल टास्क अगेंस्ट पिच एंड इंडियन स्पिनर्स. और उसके चक्कर में उन्होंने शायद बेसिक्स पे काम नहीं किया. अगर आप पिच पिच और स्पिन के अगेंस्ट इतना स्कैर्ड हो राइट बिफोर द बॉल वन एंड यू आर लूजिंग योर टू ओपनर्स इन 12 बॉल्स ऑफ द मैच, देन व्हाट कैन यू एक्सपेक्ट? तो मेरे ख्याल से मैं तो यही मेरे मुझे जो लगता है कि उन्होंने पिच और प्री कंसीव्ड नोशन को हावी होने दिया अपने ऊपर रादर देन परफॉर्मिंग एंड स्टेइंग इन द प्रेजेंट.
Mm-hmm.
और एक और चीज मुझे जो लगती है कि उन्होंने एक तो वो लेट आए हैं इंडिया. दे
Mm-hmm.
डिडंट हैव एनी प्रैक्टिस मैच.
Mhm,
willingly or unwillingly, we are not sure, but ultimately they did not play any practice match.
mhm.
शायद एक हफ्ते का उन्होंने कैंप लिया था बेंगलोर में. Straight away they came to Nagpur and got into the test match, and you are facing Ashwin, Jadeja, Akshar Patel in India, and it looked like they were not prepared at all.
अभी तो कुलदीप नहीं खेला है, अभी तो वॉशी नहीं खेला है, एंड यू नो वॉशी इज अ लाइक फॉर लाइक रिप्लेसमेंट फॉर अश्विन और इवन
Y-
अक्षर, एंड ही कैन
Yeah,
बैट एज वेल, राइट?
yes,
I think Aussie media also during the match, not just before the match, had a lot to say. I think they showed a glimpse of Ravindra Jadeja, tampering the ball, which eventually turned out that he was using an ointment for his finger. होता है
yeah,
जब आप बहुत
yeah,
टाइम बाद मैच खेल रहे हो या बहुत सारे ओवर्स करा रहे हो तो आपकी
yeah,
सिंगर्स आर नॉट यूज टू इट,
true,
स्पिनर्स को पेन होने लगता है. तो आई थिंक दैट वाज, आई मीन ऑस्ट्रेलिया मीडिया ट्राइड देयर बेस्ट to show that Indians are cheating, and which was funny because I don't think we need to in our
yeah,
backyard.
exactly,
Um, so वो था. Then there was a funny thing going on Twitter where people were saying कि India is not only providing bad wickets to Australia, but whenever India comes to bat, they change the wicket. People were being sarcastic, and काफी मजेदार था Twitter last 2-3 दिन में, and I saw a lot of support to India from Australians, Australian locals who saw nothing wrong. It was just the
yeah,
media who's creating a lot of hype.
yeah,
And I think उस hype की वजह से जो अवे टीम है, जो विजिटिंग टीम है, उसको प्रेशर भी बहुत ज़्यादा बन जाता है. इंस्टेड ऑफ सपोर्टिंग, इफ यू आर ऑलरेडी टेलिंग कि भाई ये खराब होने वाला है, तो माइंडसेट खराब होने लगता है टीम का.
true.
सो दैट आई थिंक ऑस्ट्रेलियन मीडिया विल लर्न नाउ आफ्टर दिस मैच प्रोबेबली कि आई डोंट थिंक इंडिया नीड्स टू चीट in order for us to win with
Especially
the current.
especially in Indian conditions.
Exactly. Do you think Australia got their 11 right? इंडिया के 11 के बारे में ज़्यादा डिटेल में बात करने की ज़रूरत है नहीं. I think the only probably a contention was between Ishan Kishan and Bharat. Everybody else picks themselves. Jadeja or Ashwin की batting, even Akshar की batting की वजह से we can play three spinners and two seamers, which I think for Indian conditions is the best balance ever. Like आपको कुछ और चेंज करने की जरूरत नहीं है, सवाल ही नहीं उठता इस पे. तो इसमें ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लगेंगे. बट ऑस्ट्रेलियन 11 की अगर बात करें, व्हाट डू यू थिंक, डिड दे गेट इट राइट?
In my opinion, and I think in many Aussie legends' opinion as well, and they got their 11 absolutely wrong. Because how can you drop your best performing batsman in last 18 to 24 months, that is Travis Head at number 5. You dropped him, so that was a bombshell right before the start of the match. And then uh, they picked Todd Murphy. He's pretty much the same replica of Nathan Lane, right? Nathan Lyon, the same quick in the air offie. और मुझे ऐसा लगा कि उनकी बॉलिंग में कुछ भी वैरायटी नहीं थी. Because see, I'm a big fan of Todd Murphy. I've seen him in last 1 year, and by living here in local cricket, I've seen him grow strength to strength. And before he was selected to India, he was seen as the second best spinner in the country, and he rightly proved it. Dismissing 7 batsmen in Indian condition is no
That too
mean
on a
feat.
debut.
Yeah,
That too
that
on
too
a
on a
debut.
debut. So he did tremendously well. But my only question with respect to the team selection is they did not have much variety in their bowling. Because if we go in the recent past, Steve O'Keefe, Michael Clark, all their left armers, उन्होंने कितना ट्रबल किया इंडियन बैट्समैन को. और आप सेम मैच में देख लो इंडियंस, जडेजा एंड अक्षर, उन्होंने कितना ट्रबल किया. और इनकी बॉलिंग में वेरिएशन नहीं था. Murphy and Lyon are more of a same kind of bowlers.
Mhm.
Bolland he was playing first match outside Australia, so he did a good job, containing job, but he couldn't find any breakthrough, which is pretty much expected on these conditions. Surprisingly, Cummins, who is expected so much of him being a captain and the leading Test bowler in the world, he had a disappointing match. He bowled really juicy half volleys right in the beginning to Rohit Sharma. सो वहां से उसने टोन बहुत बुरा सेट किया विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ऑस्ट्रेलिया. तो या आई मीन द बिगेस्ट ओमिशन वाज ऑब्वियसली ट्रेविस हेड. तो
Mhm.
अब जैसा परफॉर्मेंस हुआ है इस मैच में, So definitely that would be a change at number 5 and 6. If Cameron Green gets fit in time, he might replace Hanscom at number 6, और ट्रेविस हेड डेफिनेटली गोना कम इन एट 5. और लेट्स सी अगर फिर से ऐसा सरफेस मिलता है जिसकी बहुत चांसेस हैं बिकॉज नेक्स्ट मैच इज इन कोटला, तो मुझे लगता है बॉलैंड वुड आल्सो गो आउट एंड वन ऑफ स्वेप्सन और एस्टन एगा वुड कम इन. या
I think अगर मतलब if I were to talk about that, I feel Australia was a bowler short for sure.
या
आप दो स्पिनर्स और दो पेसर्स जिसमें से एक स्कॉट बॉलैंड है which is see इंडिया के अंदर he's just a military medium average
ऑब्वियसली.
bowler, right? He's
या
not proved himself. I
या
think Australia को थोड़ा स्ट्रगल करना पड़ा इंजरीज की वजह से. मिचेल स्टार्क and
या
Hazelwood were not present. Otherwise, I think Hazelwood would have played straight away,
ऑफ कोर्स.
providing better quality of bowling. Obviously,
या
yes. Though Todd Murphy got 7 wickets, but I think अगर आपको Lion और Todd Murphy में pick करना होगा तो आप Lion को लेंगे every day of the year, right? Of course,
या
you know. So they played similar type of bowlers, and one did well, obviously. So I think Australia would feel that they were at least a bowler short, if not one and a half bowler short, because Boland being that half a bowler less. Uh, Cam Green के आने से बहुत चीजें चेंज हो जाएंगी. Cam Green, if he comes, he can probably take the new ball with Cummins,
या
and then you can play one extra spinner for Boland basically, right? And I think Travis Head ka drop hona, he struggled in Sri Lanka and Pakistan with spin, right? So I think, but then because he scored so much, he deserved a chance to play. I feel
एग्जैक्टली.
आपको पहले मैच में खेल के फेल होने का मौका मिलना चाहिए,
Of
right?
course, that was the
Either he,
point I guess Steve
I,
also raised.
exactly, but I think he would have been really disastrous in the nets, right? मतलब लगी नहीं
Yeah,
रही होगी बॉल क्योंकि अश्विन का
yeah,
डुप्लीकेट तो खेल ही रहा था उनके साथ.
yeah,
15-20 बार आउट कर दिया होगा तो कॉन्फिडेंस भी लो होगा. सो क्योंकि रैनशॉ ने भी कुछ बहुत झंडे नहीं गाड़े हैं. रैनशॉ केम एज एन ओपनर व्हेन ही केम टू इंडिया
yeah,
लास्ट,
yeah.
एंड नाउ इज प्लेइंग 5, and had a very horrible match. So it's between a player who has a good record but maybe susceptible to spin versus somebody who's actually played well against India in India but struggled in the last match. So इसमें से आप किसको pick करोगे? That's again a concern which Australian team management will have. But again, I see Cam Green coming in if he's fit to bowl.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if he's not fit, then maybe Boland goes out and another fast bowler comes in, and with Travis Head providing some sort of spin because you see Marnus Labuschagne bowled really well, right? I mean,
Yeah,
जितना भी थोड़ा
yeah,
बहुत उसने bowling की. So if maybe Head can provide that balance, they can have like again two spinners and two part-time spinners with two good fast bowlers. So
yes.
a lot to think about for Australia. I think ये तो clear है कि uh, they got their balance wrong, but I would also like to say even if they got their balance right, it would have been an uphill task for them to play against this Indian team in these conditions,
I think the
right?
result would have been the same, but yeah, they would have provided a much stiffer competition at least.
Mhm.
And just to add one more interesting point, a very good point that you raised about Travis Head, right? I think he deserved to play. He deserved to start this series, no matter how horrible he was in Sri Lanka or in Pakistan. But जैसा आपने बोला सर कि he might have looked extremely susceptible to spin in nets. That is why he's been dropped even before trying in first match. Same way, I think I was listening to Fox commentary, and Brad Haddin raised a very good point. Ki why Australia did not pick Ashton Agar in 11. I think इसके दो बहुत main reason है. First, just on top of your point, ki he would have looked pretty ordinary in the nets in last 1 week, bowling to their own players. और एडिंग ऑन टू दैट पॉइंट एज वेल, इसके जस्ट पहले अगेंस्ट प्रोटियर्स जो सिडनी में इन्होंने मैच खेला था, वो स्पिन फ्रेंडली डेक था. वहां पे एस्टन एगर वाज इन प्लेइंग 11 विद नाथन लायन, एंड ही ही कुडंट कंटेन, ही कुडंट पिक एनी विकेट्स. तो ब्रैड हेडन की ये बात मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी जहां पे उसने बोला था कि आई थिंक ही बोल्ड हिमसेल्फ out of
Mhm.
contention in India. He was picked in squad obviously because of his all-round abilities, and they are going to India, so obviously they're gonna pick as much as spinning options they have. But I think the way he bowled in Sydney Test match, and he might have bowled in last 1 week in nets against their own players. So I think he must have bowled some absolutely rubbish bowling. That's why he was not in 11. But yeah, let's see. I think one of Ashton Agar or Swepson should come in next test match and playing 11. Let's see.
Let's see. रविंद्र जडेजा के बारे में बात कर लेते हैं. मैन ऑफ द मैच परफॉर्मेंस बाय हिम. 70 runs, 5 wickets in the first innings, I think 2 wickets in the second innings. थ्री डायमेंशनल प्लेयर है. कमेंट्री पे थोड़ा सा हमने थ्री डायमेंशनल के बारे में भी सुना था इंडियन
DK is
कमेंट्री में.
having a ball in commentary box.
Do you think Ravindra Jadeja is a very underrated cricketer? Does he find place in probably ranking wise, he's the best all round in the world. Ben Stokes and Ravindra Jadeja have a close competition. In Indian conditions, I would probably give him not a slight edge, but a big edge, maybe a head
Obvious,
start over Stokes. But do
absolutely.
you, do, you- do you think Ravindra Jadeja deserves to be discussed among the best ever Test cricketers that India has produced? Just to give you some context, he averages 37 with bat right now, and he averages about 23, 20, even maybe less, 23, 24. Pardon
Yeah.
my lack of knowledge here, but with the ball. So दो चीजें देखी जाती हैं. एक आप स्क्वाड में कहाँ फिट होते हो, तो ही probably today can fit in the Indian cricket team solely as a batsman or solely as a bowler.
Yep.
That's probably the best all-rounder you can have. जैसे हम जैक कालिस के बारे में बात करते थे. And then if the average gap gap of average between your batting and your bowling, जितना ज़्यादा वो एवरेज का गैप होता है, उतने अच्छे आप ऑलराउंडर कंसिडर किए जाते हो. राइट, बॉलिंग का जितना नीचे हो और बैटिंग का जितना ऊपर हो. सो स्टैट्स वाइज ही इज अ बेटर ऑलराउंडर देन इमरान खान.
Oh,
राइट,
really?
या आई मीन इज वेरी क्लोज टू प्रॉब्ली हिम. इमरान खान कपिल देव से बेटर है एवरेज वाइज देखा जाए तो. आई थिंक इंडिया में अबव 200 विकेट्स जितने भी बॉलर्स ने लिए हैं, उसमें इनका थर्ड लोएस्ट, बेसिकली थर्ड बेस्ट बॉलिंग एवरेज है. राइट, ऑस्ट्रेलिया के अगेंस्ट भी इन्होंने बहुत विकेटें ली हैं. आई थिंक 70 प्लस विकेट्स अगेंस्ट ऑस्ट्रेलिया अलोन is what I know. Correct me in the comments if you guys feel if you guys don't if you guys feel I'm wrong. मैंने check नहीं किया है, but I think I heard it somewhere. So do you think he deserves that? He deserves to be in the discussion to be the best ever all-rounder or even the Test cricketer India has produced?
Absolutely, sir. I mean, on record, I myself used to consider him as pretty. If I have to repeat the
Bang
same
average.
words of yeah Sanjay Manjrekar words, he's a typical bits and pieces cricketer,
Mm,
as per me as well. But in last 3 4 years, he's been certainly on the rise, not only with ball but also with bat, and in outside India as well. I
mm,
remember like last tour of England, where whenever there was collapse against Anderson and Broad, he held a one end, and I think he had a century as well at, I think,
mm,
in one match in England. So और इंडियन कंडीशंस में तो उसकी बैटिंग पे आई थिंक किसी को कोई डाउट नहीं है. डोमेस्टिक में ही हैज 3 ट्रिपल हंड्रेड्स विच इज
mm,
अ रिकॉर्ड इन इटसेल्फ.
mm,
और आई थिंक अब इंडिया की तरफ, इंडिया से खेल के भी ही इज बीन, जैसा आपने बोला कि ही कैन play purely as a top order batsman in top 6,
mm.
and if he might not contribute with the bat, so he's that good with the ball that he might purely play as a bowler as well. So definitely अगर उसका contribution देखें, impact देखें कि मैच विनिंग कॉज में कितना उसका इम्पैक्ट होता है, स्पेशली पिछले 4 से 5 सालों में, तो स्टैट वाइज तो ही इज neck and neck with Ben Stokes, and certainly above him in at home conditions. और अगर हम बात करेंगे इंडिया के बेस्ट मैच विनर्स के बारे में, तो डेफिनेटली इन टेस्ट क्रिकेट जडेजा हैज टू बी राइट अप देयर.
I mean,
और
Ravi
जैसा
Shastri.
आपने बोला सर कि कैन वी सी हिम sometimes as a bit underrated, so I don't think so that is the case, at least now. Before, I
Mm,
think before few years he was seen as a you know average so cricketer, but now I think he's been rated so high, not by Indian people. I think Aussie locals are going gaga over him. They are literally scared of Jadeja, not only with ball but is with bat also. You can say yesterday also when Murphy and Lyon took some wickets in pretty much quick succession, there was chances that they might bundle out India around somewhere around 250 and they can come back in a match. But again, Jadeja had a good partnership with Rohit, and then again he had a massive partnership with Akshar Patel as well, and literally batted Australia out of the Test match. So what what else would you want? Being a so good with both of your expertise, not only with bat but with ball as well. So yeah, I think he has to be right up there with amongst the top notch test cricketers ever produced by India.
I mean, the testimony of the fact that he is being discussed for his batting and bowling, and nobody is discussing his fielding tells a lot
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
his performance, right? He's probably the best fielder in the world right now, and among probably the best ever. Definitely a good shout for the best fielder produced by India, along with Yuvraj Singh and Mohammad Kaif.
Yes.
So great. So Ravindra Jadeja ke बारे में, I think it was great to have Ravi Shastri in the commentary box after
Yeah.
coaching India for 6 to 7 years. The insights which he gives are pretty very recent and very current from the dressing room. And he was saying that how 3 to 4 years ago, the team management started giving him confidence, started sending him up to about six, sometimes even five,
Yeah.
and then he started taking his batting seriously, put a price tag on it. Out nahi hona hai, right? And even in the post match presentation, Jadeja said that I keep things simple. मेरे लिए बैटिंग में कुछ फालतू की चीजें ट्राई नहीं करनी है. That shows, right? He doesn't give you 70 ball 80 or 30 balls for 50. He plays like a batsman. He plays
Yes.
120 बॉल पे 50 बना रहा है. अपने विकेट पे पूरा प्राइज रख रहा है. इनफैक्ट फॉर हिज bowling, the break which he took out of because of his injury, unfortunate injury which he has had, gave him a good chance to go to the NCA, where he was again talking about in his interview that he worked on his skill. Sometimes what happens when you're touring regularly, playing tournaments, IPL etc., आप नई skill पे काम नहीं कर पाते हो,
Yeah,
right?
you
आप
don't get
वही
enough
same चीज,
time.
एग्जैक्टली, आप वही चीज़ कर रहे हो, आप वही बॉलिंग कर रहे हो, वही प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो. जब आप गेम से थोड़ा अवे होते हो तो आपको रिफ्लेक्ट करने का मौका मिलता है, राइट? यू रिफ्लेक्ट
Yeah.
ऑन योर सेल्फ, यू क्रिएट न्यू स्किल्स. आपके पास टाइम होता है चीज़ों को ट्राई करने का नेट्स में. यूजुअली आप वो नहीं कर पाते हो इन एन ऑन गोइंग सीजन. सो आई थिंक दिस ब्रेक केम एज अ गुड थिंग फॉर जडेजा in this part of his career, because again he's 34, close to 34 if not 34 already. तो fit है, बहुत ज़्यादा fit है, but again you are towards more towards the end rather than, sorry, more towards the end of your career rather than the beginning. So, and he's one of the senior most cricketers in the team, right? So, I think a lot more to see from him in this series, and of course in the next coming weeks, months, and years for Team India, which augurs really well. Cool. So मैच के बारे में बात कर ली. थोड़ी सी अंपायरिंग के बारे में बात करते हैं. I we saw a lot of dismissals being LBW, which told us that the Indians were targeting the stumps, right? हमने कोई भी ऐसा बैट पैड नहीं देखा जो एकदम से बॉल कहीं से उछल गई हो, spitting, taking the glove, getting caught at bat pad, silly point पे catch हो रहा है. It was all orthodox, either slips पे caught हो रहे हैं या LB हो रहे हैं. We didn't even see a lot of bolds. Yes, there were a couple of bolds, but not a lot of bolds as well. So when you get a lot of LBWs, either the umpiring is really bad or it's really good. Uh, क्योंकि मौके ही ऐसे मिलते हैं. LBWs are a tough the toughest decision for an umpire to take is an LBW, right? And what do you think, how the umpiring was? I felt it was very good, very high standards. Most of
Yeah.
the reviews which went upstairs were either in the umpire's favor or on umpire's call, which I personally feel is umpires. I mean, umpire's call is basically what umpire thinks is right.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
if it is an umpire call, that umpire has got it right. So, any words you have for the umpiring?
Yeah, sure, sir. I think umpiring was pretty much the complementary with the Indian bowling, because I think, as you rightly said, there were many dismissals that were leg before, and uh, हमेशा से ही ये रेपुटेशन रही है, स्पेशली जडेजा और अक्षर पटेल की, कि दे वर pretty much accurate. They stick to line and length and pretty much wicket to wicket bowling. So you miss I hit वाला फंडा है उनका, और
Mhm.
जहाँ पे थोड़ा सा टर्न हो पिच पे, स्लो बाउंस हो, लो भी रह जाओ कभी कभी, तो उसका फ़ायदा उठाया उन्होंने। और जहाँ तक अंपायरिंग की बात है, अंपायरिंग बहुत ही अच्छी थी। अगर मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया के पर्सपेक्टिव से बात करूँ तो कल कह सकते हैं कि जडेजा लिव्ड अ चार्म्ड लाइफ, बिकॉज़ 2 और 3 LBs against Murphy and one against Lyon, I guess, which went his way, which looked very close to the naked eye, but
mm,
umpire gave it not out on field. So obviously you have to you know kill it. You have to take all three, pitched in line, hit in line, and absolutely hitting the stumps. तो वहां पे आई थिंक 2 से 3 डिसीजन में अंपायर्स कॉल हुआ, विच इज जस्ट आउटसाइड द लाइन, और जस्ट अंपायर्स कॉल हुआ, तो वहां पे कह सकते हैं कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया वाज अ बिट अनलकी, बट ओवरऑल अंपायरिंग का स्टैंडर्ड बहुत हाई था। और कोई भी आई थिंक मेरे ख्याल से ऐसा डिसीजन हमने नहीं देखा पूरे टेस्ट मैच में जो ओवरटर्न हुआ हो, राइट?
yep,
तो
exactly.
तो या तो
हम्म,
इट मींस
probably
अंपायरिंग
एक
वाज।
था. There was one decision overturned. If I feel, I think India ने दो LBs के लिए
ओह या
DRS
या
लिया था
करेक्ट।
ऑस्ट्रेलिया की
आई
बैटिंग
थिंक
के टाइम पे.
अश्विन एंड Bharat, both
Yes, yeah.
against
So
Murphy.
yeah, so I think those were there, but I think इस level की pitches और
Hmm.
इस level की spin पे, I think that's a very good percentage
Yeah,
of right decisions from the umpire. So kudos to the umpiring.
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Umpiring was pretty good.
Nice. Before we probably go to the last section, which is previewing or maybe seeing what next, any very small comments, very short comments on commentary. We are seeing some very good matchups in commentary where
Yeah,
Mark Waugh and Ravi Shastri are having a go at each other. Matthew Hayden started with supporting Mark Waugh or maybe Australia, and then gradually moved into being neutral or maybe on the Indian side because
sure.
भाई आईपीएल का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है भाई हेडन के पास उसको तो आना ही है.
Yeah.
But what do you think that Indian commentators sometimes are too biased towards India, whereas having a fresh perspective from an outsider like a Mark Waugh gives a good sort of understanding and analysis of the game?
Rightly put, sir. I think lately हमने देखा है कि थोड़ी सी राइवलरी ऐसी हो गई इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया की, तो नॉट ओनली अमंगस्ट प्लेयर्स, आई थिंक इट इज seen amongst ex-cricketers and commentators as well. So if I can put in a simpler words, basically DK, Sunny G, and Ravi Shastri, they both were absolutely pouncing on Mark Waugh Jr. Right
Mhm,
there. And I think Hayden was a bit neutral, but whatever point Mark Waugh was putting up, uh, uh, Ravi Shastri and Sunny Gavaskar has counter action to that.
mhm,
I think I remember one incident where uh, Ravi Shastri raised a point that last tour when India got bowled out at 36 in Adelaide. After that, I think Mark Waugh declared that they're gonna get hammered 4-0.
mhm,
So Ravi Shastri rightly raised that point and kind of ridiculed Waugh Junior over there. That kudos to you, Mark. Keep predicting. So I think that's where Mark Waugh Junior just shied a bit, and he had some good banter with DK as well. I think he's having his time of life behind the mic. He's he he keeps it with pretty interesting. And yeah, Hayden looked a bit I would say overawed by the Indian contingent. But yeah, I think Hayden and Mark are the two Aussies which are there in India
Yeah,
right
they're the
now, right?
only overseas commentators.
Yeah,
DK provided very good insights. I think DK के साथ क्या है कि he's a smart brain. Obviously, and he's done commentary with Sky previously, which
yeah,
enhances you, as a commentator for sure. BCCI के लिए commentary
absolutely.
करना is, I'm sorry to say this, but BCCI की चाटना. आप प्लेयर्स को कुछ नहीं बोल सकते. You don't have the freedom to say stuff. अगर आप कुछ गलत बोलोगे तो सोशल मीडिया पे बवाल मच जाएगा and you'll be thrown out of your job. Whereas, people in Fox, people in Channel 9, Sky, they have the liberty to criticize the players if they're wrong, right? And analyze the game as well. So DK brought a fresh breath of air. Also, I feel since he's still playing, because he's technically not retired, right? Even Indian cricket team se bhi retired nahi hua, and he played the World Cup just now,
Yeah,
just a few months ago. Uh, he understands the modern game versus somebody like Sunil Gavaskar, जिन्होंने 1970s and 80s में खेला है game. There was a very beautiful analysis he did about Ravindra Jadeja playing the ball very close to his pads versus previously probably आज से 3-4 साल पहले DRS आने से पहले पैड आगे रखते थे बैट पीछे रखते थे
yeah,
and this is a subtle change which every batsman or the batsman of this world have brought in after the technology advancement of DRS, right? And ये चीज दिनेश कार्तिक को इसलिए पता है because he's also playing the game with that technology, right? He's in that dressing room जहाँ पे डिस्कस होता होगा कि भाई पैड और बैट साथ रखो या बैट आगे रखो, क्योंकि पैड आगे रखोगे तो DRS में एलबी होने के चांसेस ज्यादा है,
या
right?
अब तो
So
ऑन फील्ड
these
अंपायर्स भी आउट देने लगे हैं.
Exactly. So this is a beauty of having DK in the com box, and I think DK, क्योंकि Ravi Shastri was the coach when DK was part of the team on and off, right? World Cup 2019, etc. I think he does have this habit of poking Ravi Shastri here and there.
Yeah.
There was a funny incident where we were talking about they were talking about Ravindra Jadeja being a three-dimensional
Three.
cricketer. तो डीके ने रवि शास्त्री को पोक किया कि भाई 3D के बारे में आपका क्या कहना है, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली विजय शंकर 3D and all of that, and Ravi Shastri very cheekily said, I don't even know what 3D means, can you explain? So you know all the mind games were going on. I think they were
Yeah.
probably questioning the calls of the selectors. MSK Prasad कहीं पे सुन रहे होंगे, तो Ravi Shastri of course never shies away from giving his peace of mind.
Yeah.
So he was pretty cheeky himself. So yeah, fun times. Let's wrap this up. What do you think? Does your prediction change now? So we said 3-1, both of us, at the beginning of the series. I would like to change it to 4-0. I don't see Australia winning and coming back from this at all. What do you still think that you will stay with your prediction?
Yeah, I think so, sir. I will stick with 3-1 because I think they don't have enough time to obviously change their game, but what they can do with the best of their abilities to go back to the nets, go back to the basics, and understand your game a little better, stick to
Hmm.
your strength, and back yourself. That's what they can do, and I think once the likes of Mitch Stark, Josh Hazelwood, Cam Green, they and obviously Travis Head gonna come in playing 11. That will bolster their batting a little bit, of course. So I feel, I still feel Australia is not gonna get hammered 4-0. They will
Hmm.
definitely come back because they have enough quality. But the main conundrum for them is to negate the trio of Ashwin Jadeja and Akshar Patel.
Hmm.
So Warner and Khwaja have to step up. Labuschagne and Smith have to go long. Not these uh, fighting 30s and 40s would work. They need to get 80s and hundreds, big hundred. That's what they are known for. So let's see. Being if I have to say with Aussie perspective, they can still make a comeback. But yeah, this was such a humbling defeat. They have been thrashed in I guess 2.5 days, and हमने discuss भी किया था कि just to put this forward, this hammering is quite reminiscent to the 36 all out at Adelaide, which India
Hmm.
got in last tour. So this 91 all out is as bad as 36 all
Hmm.
out in Adelaide.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah,
आई मीन अगर आपको इंडिया के अगेंस्ट इंडिया में जीतना है तो सीरीज का पहला मैच होना चाहिए, मेरा मानना ये है, क्योंकि इंडिया स्लो इज़ अ स्लो स्टार्टर, बट आई डोंट सी ऑस्ट्रेलिया कमिंग बैक फ्रॉम दिस एट ऑल. मैचेस बहुत जल्दी जल्दी हैं, बीच में गैप नहीं है टू regroup. But if I mean, you are an Aussie supporter, we all know that, right? Second team after India, so I will respect your opinion on this, but I would go for a 4-0. I don't see them coming back. Um, अगला मैच कोटला में है. So do you think Australia will make one all there, or do you think this will still go this will still go for India? So I'm again predicting a 3-day match, 3.5 days, because Kotla historically has been a spin-friendly wicket, low, slow, and
yeah.
all of that. But do you think Australia has it in them to come back on
I
the Kotla
reckon
wicket?
it's gonna be 2-0 in Delhi, but a
Yeah.
bit more competitive match, bit stiffer competition against the likes of Smith and Labuschagne. They have to get some big runs, and but still, I think India have enough quality with their spin bowling attack, which is gonna be prove way too much against Aussie batsmen. So yeah, they can fight a bit harder, but I don't think they can change the outcome of the match, at least in Kotla. Let's see what happens in Dharamshala. I think today morning itself, I read somewhere that there are chances that the match third match might get taken away from Dharamshala. I
Yeah,
was
वहाँ
not
पे outfield has been relayed, and I think the development of the outfield has not been, or as per what they planned. Speed के हिसाब से settlement नहीं हो रहा है, and this is an
okay.
international match. You cannot have a
Yeah,
bad outfield, right? So
yeah.
they will take a call. I think within a couple of days the call will be taken because it's a
I
third
did.
match, right?
I didn't
And they
look
have
into the reasons, but I just saw the headlines that the match might
there
get
are
taken away.
backups. There are backups already. I think they're saying Mohali can be one because pass bhi hai on the way hai, and of course it's an evergreen stadium. Ranji just Ranji चल रहा है अपना domestic season, so सारे stadiums almost ready है, so
Hmm.
that should not be a problem. But if we get to know about that, obviously we will be discussing about that
अगर
change as well.
अगर धर्मशाला से मोहाली में भी शिफ्ट होता है मैच तो आई थिंक मोर और लेस सेम होगा क्योंकि मोहाली भी प्रिडोमिनेंटली गुड गुड पेस एंड बाउंस प्रोवाइड करता है तो आई स्टिल स्टिक टू माय 3-1 prediction in favor of India and Australia's best chance would be either धर्मशाला or Mohali. So yeah, let's
Cool.
see.
परफेक्ट, थैंक यू सो मच अंकित फॉर दिस। बिफोर वी क्लोज, एक बहुत ही अच्छा स्टार्ट देता हूँ मैं अपने लिसनर्स एंड व्यूअर्स को। सो रविंद्र जडेजा बोल्ड 5 नो बॉल्स इन द मैच टुडे, और मे बी दिस मैच, एंड उसमें से एक स्टीव स्मिथ का बोल्ड विकेट भी था जो हमें लगा था लास्ट विकेट ऑफ द मैच होगा।
Yeah.
एंड उनका एक्शन हमने देखा है, कई बार उनका पैर बहुत आगे पड़ता है बट दैट ड्रैग्स बैक। सो काफ़ी अंपायर भी हमेशा सोचता होगा कि अरे नो बॉल डालने वाला है कि नहीं डालने वाला है, डालने वाला है कि नहीं डालने वाला है, बट uh, the amazing fact is Nathan Lyon has during his career throughout 100 plus matches, close to 450 wickets, has bowled 30,000 plus deliveries and has never bowled a no ball.
My god,
Right, let that sink in.
30,000 balls without a no
And
ball.
without a no ball, so it is something which can be done. It is not a bahana कि मैं extra try कर
Yeah,
रहा था. There's
yeah.
another spinner who's done that all his career and he's never bowled a no ball.
And
So yeah, that's
suppose,
the fact.
yeah,
थैंक यू सो मच अंकित, लेट्स सी हाउ इट हैपेंस। हमारा अगला एपिसोड अगले वीक आएगा, तब तक हम शायद सेकंड मैच के बीच में होंगे। होपफुली दैट मैच लास्ट्स मोर देन 3 days so that we can review it before our next episode. Yeah,
yeah. Thank you.
thank you, see you.